The Master Tavern Keeper's History of the Old World. And so everyone, that was how the compass of finding of the famous runesmith Snorri Spanglehelm found its way to the bottom of the harbour of the dwarf-hold port of Barak Var. Och, but Sedrik, you've returned. Is your stomach settled after your violent bout of vomiting? By Portek, Tepok and Chortek, I was not being sick. I was simply, very loudly, clearing my throat. If you say so. If you say so. Och, good. Now that's all cleared up. What I was about to ask was this. Why was Drogor so dead set upon diving into the harbour's waters and swimming about, trying to find this compass of finding that presumably lay somewhere in the wreck of the sunken boat of Cassio the Cat? Ugh, by Itzel's fur, I've never heard anything so ridiculous sound on heart. I've hurled large rocks into the sea that swim better than any dwarf I've ever met. Please, enlighten us. How did Drogor simply not drown as soon as his stocky torso hit the water? Ah, well, and those are very fair points, Master Alchemist, but his success in avoiding a watery grave was actually all down to the innovations of the sea engineer and future guildmaster, Damin Cragbrow. The Guildhall of the Sea Engineers, Barak Var, in the year 1476 of the Imperial calendar. Shiver me timbers, you'll do it. You'll dive into the harbour to retrieve the compass. By Grugni's whiskers, you're a dowie and a half.
For me, there is no choice here. I need that compass to find and rescue my brother from the blue-face Urks. Of course I'll do it, or I'll die trying.
At last, a volunteer. You're the first dwarf to agree to go into the depths of the harbour. Cover me in Billswater. It's true what they say about iron breakers. Iron aft and fore, and iron to the core. I've asked though, let's make sure you don't die trying, eh? That would be a waste. Lord, you won't actually be the first dwarf I've helped plumb the watery depths, though. I've asked. I recently helped design and build some small wooden submersible suits for an expedition into lost Karakvan. These were for the equally brave bockies to head down into both the lake and also delve into the flooded mines in search of lost treasure and seams of Gromril. The expedition has yet to return, but I've high hopes of the success of my inventions. But I've already come up with some improvements on my original designs, and I've even made another prototype with the idea, at the back of my mind, of using it to recover the lost compass of finding. This is where you come in, my brave Anthraga. The last thing holding me back was that I couldn't find anyone with the nerves strong enough to pilot the bilge-sucking thing. At least until now. Let's waste no time. Come with me. The Boyer's Brew Tavern in Saltkalten, Ostland, in the year 1551 of the Imperial calendar.
Thus, my young scallywag did Damin Cragbrow, accompanied by 5 of his young apprentices, take me down to one of the guild's private boathouses, those down near the southern jetties. It was a warm day. Too hot for trudging about, to be honest. I'd started to think about what I'd let myself in for, and I remember getting more and more on edge with each and every heavy step. By Grimnir's beard, truly, what had I agreed to? We Dowie are not divers, you see, and as Drogar here mentioned earlier, I'm not comfortable around water. Not comfortable at all. Ah, you can say that again, big brother. And it looks like I'll have to say it again, because you keep interrupting me, little brother. As I was saying, I'm not very comfortable around water, and the fact that the young apprentices kept pointing at me and then whispering to each other didn't help. No, didn't help one tiny bit. In the end, though, I resolved to follow the path I'd chosen and bury my reservations deep down where they belong. Eventually, we reached our destination. The boathouse was a huge block of a building. Nothing like the rickety, rotten plank shacks you get to see around here. Along the Sea of Claws, I mean. To start with, it was all stone, with fully half its foundation built into the nearby jetty to boot. It had a pair of gigantic bronze double doors that took up the majority of the near face in front of us. The mottled, etched rune of the guild emblazoned over both. A warning to any but those of the guild itself to steer clear. The Sea Guild is not a bear that you want to poke. We stopped our trek in front of these doors, and Damon gestured to one of his underlings to step forwards. The beardling immediately shuffled off around the side of the boathouse, and we waited, and waited, and then, suddenly, the great doors began to ratchet open.
The southern jetties of Balakvar in the year 1476 of the Imperial calendar. This is it, my brave Anthragar. Don't be coy. Step inside.
By Valia's steely gaze, what am I looking at here, Master Engineer? It looks like a gigantic ale barrel with leather udders. Is this your submersible? Or am I the butt of some engineering joke?
It's no joke, you scallywag. And those are not udders. They're the finest arm-length gloves this side of the World's Edge Mountains. The reason they're so shiny is the complex mix of animal lard, tallow, and wax that I've applied to them in order to make them waterproof. Avast ye, my brave Anthragar. It's this finely constructed piece of engineering that allow you to safely, and for a prolonged period, explore the sunken wreckage of Cassio's boat. Trust me, this'll help you find the compass, and then you can save your brother. Apprentices! Ready this for transport over to Key 57. That's the site of the wreck of the Il Brigantino, by the way, Iron Breaker. Och, but Septimus, I'm sorry. I'm having a bit of trouble visualizing this submersible, was it? Ah, yes, I can relate to that. I too was in the same boat during Drogor's retelling. At my request, he actually went into some detail though, and even drew me a diagram in the sand of the beach during our walk back from the Boyer's Brew to our whaling ship, the Orman Barden. Basically, Cragbrow's diving machine was a sturdy wooden barrel about 5 feet long, within which a dwarf could lie upon their stomach. Both where their head would be, and at the top end of the barrel were large round windows from which you could peer into the murky depths. Where the arms would be, 2 holes had been made and sealed with long, water-resistant, waterproof if you like, leather gloves. On the upper part of the barrel, one at each end, were 2 eye bolts and backing plates that had been lashed to the bitter ends of a pair of long chains by Deadeyes. These reached all the way up to an enormous crane wagon powered by a steam engine. Interwoven around the links of these chains were 2 pipes. One was used to pump fresh air into the barrel, and the other was used as a voice pipe, via which the pilot could communicate with the surface. The crane was the thing that lowered and raised the diving machine, although slung to the underside of the barrel were ballasts that could be discarded in order to rise to the surface without any help. It was quite a marvel, and one that was soon put to good use.